I'm Jenny and I'm a registered dietitian. I work mostly with women around ditching this all or nothing diet mentality that so many of us struggle with. And this is the most common phrase that I hear from people. So we focus on bringing it back to the basics of nutrition and building healthy habits because I believe that this should be about a sustainable approach that you can continue to incorporate in different seasons of your life. And I really want to be the last dietitian that you work with because I want to empower you to have the tools, the skills, the education, but also the application on how it applies to you so you can apply this to your everyday life. A lot of women come to me for outcomes, which are losing weight, measurements, fitting into a certain size clothes. Those are all outcomes, right? So I like to think of it as those are the fruits on the tree, right? Those are the outcomes. So what we cannot control the outcomes, right? We can't control our weight, but what we can control is our behaviors and our actions, our habits that we take each day towards creating these outcomes. So together, I work with women on creating behaviors that they can incorporate into their everyday life, the invisible parts of your journey, the roots of the fruit tree that we can establish and get a really strong foundation and a framework. And this has to do with nutrition as a piece, but also stress management, sleep, energy, mood, digestion. All of these factors play a role in our overall wellness. So when I say the all or nothing approach, this is the sense that when people go on diets, they are very black and white, yes and no, good or bad, all or nothing. And this is a traditional, very rigid, any kind of fad, quick fix diet. This is the foundation. This is why we are able to successfully lose the weight because it's very restrictive, very low calorie, but we can't maintain it. And this is what the diet industry wants because then we have to do it again and give them more money, but we're not learning anything. We're not empowered to understand food, our body, what we need. It's all about, this is what you should eat. I don't care what your kids are doing. I don't care, how you feel. I don't care if it's before your menstrual cycle. Like, they don't get to know you. It's all about, this is, good or bad foods. And I don't believe that's how it has to be. This is what happens when we think we have to eat perfectly. We have to eat all the good foods, exercise every day. And if we have that cookie, if we have, if we're at an event or a party and we have those bad foods, that means we failed. And then we go off of the wagon, right? That's another phrase that we commonly hear. I fell off the wagon. I screwed up. So that means today's a wash. And then it goes into that downward spiral, that cycle, that endless cycle. Restrict, feeling like we have to go back on the diet, and then we overeat, and then we feel guilty, and then we feel shameful, and then we have to start over again on Monday. That's the cycle of the all or nothing thinking. I think there's a lot of deep-rooted conditioning on why we have certain behaviors and what is modeled to us from our family, right? So this is also why it's super important as moms that we're modeling healthy behaviors and being leaders and examples, and not necessarily saying like you have to eat this and you have to eat a vegetable and you have to eat this way. It's like, this is what I am doing because I believe in taking care of myself, and then we model that to our children. And I think that that's the misconception, is that like dietitians put you on a diet, but that isn't necessary. That's not the case, because your diet is what you eat every day, right? It doesn't mean it has to be like very strict. It's just literally the foods that you choose to eat. So rather than giving people meal plans, I don't do that. I empower them I look at their food preferences, what it looks like for them, their schedule, and we think of ideas together that they can utilize. 6 months down the road, I work with people very long term. Like, this is not a one session thing that we're doing. I work with people 6 months or longer usually. And I really approach it that way in the beginning because this stuff takes time. This is how you create sustainable changes long term. So I create a lot of vision and clarity around what success looks like for you, because success for you, Megan, is different for success for me. I think that this is just a sustainable approach, and that's why it's so different. And I think it's hard for people to understand that until you actually go through the process of, it's a roadmap that we're going down. It's not like a straight straight line. Success isn't a straight line. Any successful thing you've done in your life has bumps and it has barriers, but we learn how to pivot and we learn how to shift. So that way you have the tools and the skills to manage those situations when they happen again. Because to say that you're not going to, fall back into old habits or have bad days isn't true. We're humans. We all struggle. But if I can give you the tools and the skills to move through those barriers and support you along the way, I feel like that's really the success behind nutrition coaching.